Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda Dittlinger and I am a neurodivergent woman. I have aphantasia, which is the inability to visualize in your mind's eye. I have a rare memory disorder called SDAM, and I am on the path to getting an official autism diagnosis and maybe even ADHD. So I like to start off my videos with a little bit vlog update and then kind of get to the point of the video, which later will be you might be autistic if kind of topic. So life update. In my last video I talked a little bit about withdrawing my kids from public school and enrolling them into an online academy, and it got me thinking, and caveat here, I am working on getting an official diagnosis, but being self-diagnosed in the autistic community is a very valid experience. And when you go through the process and do all the research and you really relate to being autistic, then sometimes for some people getting an official diagnosis is not accessible. So I am operating under the assumption that I am autistic. So we're just going to go with that. But I am also getting an official diagnosis because I do have access to it. And I, one, would like to have more women diagnosed to get into the numbers so that people and knowledge will spread that women can be autistic and it's not just white males, boys. That's the standard. Anyway, I'm rambling. So, being a parent is hard, period, right? Being a parent is hard. Being an autistic parent adds another level of difficulty. But in a way, I really think that, it's been an amazing experience for me personally, because having children has pushed me to do things that I would not do for myself. Like being responsible for other human beings makes you push past those uncomfortable zones and do the things, right? Like this whole process from going homeschool to public school and learning everything there is to know about public school when you have had experience with it since, I was a teenager in a different state, and so much has changed. And calling the school and enrolling the school, and then also finding out that I have disabled autistic children, and I don't mean that in any kind of negative form. If y'all know me for any split second, I do not see disability as a negative. It's just a powerful word for communication. Both of my children are also autistic, and so dealing with getting 504 plans and all of that, realizing that public school was not the safe environment for my children, having to withdraw my students, and then now making even more phone calls. And phone calls are one of my biggest anxiety triggers. Phone calls to find an online academy and getting the enrollment process set up for that. So that's what I've been doing for the last couple of days, and my mental energy is so zapped because I am having to just keep pushing through my comfort zones for my kids. But I don't regret that at all. I think it's great. But it also did lead me to kind of reflect back and think on today's topic, which is you might be autistic if. So I am 42 years old, and just with diagnosing my children and researching about autism, realizing, oh my gosh, I have so many autistic traits, and I never realized it. And one reason why I think I realized it is because I'm one of those that has been very, very good at masking. So I have a video about masking. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just trying to appear normal and that you got things figured out, right? All the while, it's kind of like the duck sitting on top of the water. It's all calm and the feet are going like this underneath, like, oh my god, I'm freaking out. That's kind of the experience for a lot of autistic people. Like, okay, we're just gonna pretend like we're normal, but oh my god, we are like dying inside. So here's a couple of things that I have done over the years in order to being normal person. And I'm using air quotes because nobody's really normal, right? But neurotypical, or whatever you want to say. So when I was 13, my mom enrolled me in Landmark Education. Landmark Education is a personal development company. There's a lot of controversy online, but let me tell you, I think that is one of the best things that my mom ever did for me. I took their teen course, and honestly, I think that's why from a very young age, I learned how to people. So Landmark, being a personal development company, really works on interpersonal communication, like, you know, communication with yourself too, but also with other people. Like, it's all about, you know, how do you communicate with the greater world in order to connect. And they use a lot of scripts because a lot of people have a hard time with difficult conversations that you might need to do in order to function in life. Like, even neurotypical people have difficulties with certain types of conversations, and Landmark does have scripts available. They don't call them scripts, it's kind of what they are, like, in order to practice these types of communication. So I, at a very early age, was able to learn these things. And in certain instances, I will fall back on the tools that I've used in Landmark to communicate. And it always sounds a little stiff when I do it because it's not supernatural, but it is a good way to communicate and get your point across when you're having trouble otherwise. So another thing that you might be autistic is, so if you've taken a lot of personal development classes over the years to try to figure out how to kind of like be human. Another one is, I have checked out so many books on how to communicate, how to have a conversation, how to ask for what you want, these types of topics, because they don't come naturally to me. And so over the years, I will check these kind of books out. They are available at your library. And there's been some really great ones that have helped me kind of uncover where I've had difficulties in communicating. And you might be autistic if you've listened to the How to Make Friends podcast. That is the actual name of it. I don't know if it's still going. I listened to it a couple years ago. I think it was actually kind of at the beginning of the pandemic. I stumbled across it. I can't remember the lady's name. She was so delightful. She was a British lady. And her podcast was called the How to Make Friends podcast. And I was feeling very lonely, like a lot of us were at the pandemic. But for me, I was even more isolated feeling than some people. And I was at a time where I was feeling like I just lost a lot of friends. That's also a common autistic trait where a lot of us tend to be able to make friends or acquaintances very well. But because of the masking, we're not really being our true selves, but we don't know it. It's okay, because you don't know that you're doing this until you find out about a diagnosis. And so friendships kind of fall apart. And so at this point in my life, I had kind of lost a couple friends and I was really floundering. And so I stumbled upon this podcast and I listened to it and go on walks around the neighborhood. Everybody was isolating themselves, but I had a goal to make more friends. It was 2020. I had, January 2020, we did not know the pandemic was about to hit. I had put down on my New Year's resolutions, make more friends. I found this podcast, I was going to do it, and then the whole world shuts down. That's okay. I did make some amazing friends in the pandemic. It can be done. But the fact that I sought out podcasts specifically on that topic, because social interactions don't come naturally for autistic people in a lot of cases. I'm a very extroverted person. I love being around people. I love trying to figure people out. I do love trying to communicate. It is something that I also very much struggle with. So anyway, let me know down in the comments if you have been the type of person to seek out these types of resources and not even if you knew you were autistic and you sought them out to help with the social things, or that you like, oh, I have done a lot of this. Maybe I need to look into autism. Now, this just on itself is not an autism diagnosis. There's a lot more traits that you need to kind of follow, but you know, something to look at. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoy talking to y'all in the comments. It really lights up my day. So make sure that you leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. Please share it. It's a brand new baby channel and I hope to grow, spread some awareness. I do plan on talking a lot more about aphantasia and SDAM, but right now, this whole autism thing kind of just fell in my lap and it is kind of like a big focus for me. But if you also want more aphantasia and SDAM, my memory disorder content, make sure you check out my Instagram page because I do a lot more reels on that topic too there. I am mind blank. All right, wrapping this one up. Bye guys. High five. That was really awkward.